Welcome in everybody into this Venus in Astrology Masterclass. We're going to be teaching you the principles of Riz, how to use it in real time, how to use your own personal charisma, your personal magnetism, the things that you want and need in order to further put your energy forward. Venus is the light in you that has a cause for desire. It's the part of you that stirs up when you see that special somebody. It explains to you the aesthetic of what you like to wear. It explains to you the people or the types of people that you want to put yourself around in terms of things, right? The main thing when it comes to Venus in astrology is that it's not all about love though, which unfortunately in like the space that we are in a lot of the times, people often just say Venus is the planet of love. And although there is truth to that, based off of the backgrounds of Venus, based off of where Venus is coming from. As a matter of fact, we're doing this today on a Venus day. But despite all the ideology that's behind Venus being about love, Venus is about more than just that. Because Venus wasn't just a goddess figure that waited for things to come around. Venus was ready to stir the pot, to show up and pop up in order for people to understand that she was the one there to bring the grace, to bring the beauty, to stand up in her power in that regard, right? So I'm gonna take you on a field trip real quick. We're gonna be going through some of the older aspects of Venus. We're going to be talking about how Venus works through all the signs today. And then we're going to be kind of utilizing how to best workshop Venus within your life to help really bring in the results and attractions and desires that you need. For those of y'all who do not know me, this may be your first time. My name is Chad the Maverick. I have been dedicated over the past 10 years or more to just being able to break down some really complicated astrology jargon into the most simple, concrete way possible to make astrology make sense. So you don't just look at it and be like, what does this mean? That's my job. So, for anybody who does want to get a deep dive on their Venus, I am offering a 10-minute mini reading. It's going to be a limited time offer. If you're watching this years after this, then look to see what other offers I have on my actual main website. But for a limited time, I'm going to be offering a 10-minute segment of me going down and breaking down your Venus sign. So if you wanted to get like a specific and personalized rendition of that to give you context of the format, this is what it's going to basically be like. I'm going to be in your chart, explaining your chart to you, being able to point out all the parts to Venus, and then continuing going forward. And that'll be like pretty much the clip. The main reason why the mini readings were taking a second beforehand, because I was trying to figure out the best workflow, and I think I have solved that. So thank you all for who have been getting the mini readings in between, supporting me in that regard. And for those of y'all who have been getting the main readings, and for those of y'all who have been working with me one-on-one every other week to really get into this astrology, trust. We are having a great time in building this. I have a lot of announcements coming forward as far as my channel, how I'm going to go about a few things. One of them has a lot to do with social media. I did end up gaining 20K followers last year um in on Instagram on the year that it was hardest for anyone to go viral. So they said ended up going viral multiple times. They actually ended up getting 20K followers by utilizing my Venus sign, right? So by utilizing my Venus sign, by recognizing the patterns of that, and instead of me being like, let's go rush for it, I actually utilize my Venus. But we'll get into a little bit into that later and how we can define your success in that regard and how you can use your Venus in the same thing. So we got all the house rules done. What's up to the live chat for those of y'all who are here? We have a Venusian in the house, matter of fact. So let's get into it. All right, let's start to break this all down. So, okay. Venus is the planet of love. But it's not just about love. It's about your relationship. Is as a matter of fact, I would say Venus goes as far as the relationships that you allow into your heart. Why? I think Venus has this resonation in terms of the body within the heart chakra. My personal opinion. I've worked a lot through the energetics, talked to a lot of people. This is where I think most people feel their Venus is resonant, right? When you feel that feeling in your chest, whether that be of glory, whether it be of despair, whether it be of like whatever, like that feeling that you get, that warm, fuzzy feeling, specifically right here, I feel like that's where most people's Venus energy source resides, right? Now, Venus is the second planet closest to the sun. When we talk about this bright planet to us because it's so close to us, back in ancient times when people would look up at the sky in either the very early morning or in the evening time, right? They would be like, oh, shoot, that star there is super bright. As a matter of fact, it's almost as if it's like the precursor to the sun. It's almost as if like there's something more impactful about it. Now, for those who really knew, they knew that was Venus, you know what I'm saying? For those who were just figuring that out, it's still something that you can see. I remember even as a kid, I used to like look up when I'll go catch the bus in the mornings, right? I would take my walk down my 30 minutes and up 3 hills and down the corner around the street because apparently I'm old. All jokes aside. But I would end up taking that wasn't really a joke either. But anyway, the main portion to all of this is that I would look up and be like, oh shoot, that's why is there a star out when it's the daytime? It's already daytime. I see the sun coming up. Why is there already a star there? Little did I know at the time that was Venus. And years later from that, here we are talking about it. So let's bring in a little bit more context, right? When we get into Venus and we get into all the planets, we have what's known as just associations, right? So typically there are deities, gods, goddesses of different cultures, backgrounds, traditions, etc., that will be that vibration of, let's say, Venus for that culture, tradition, etc. The one that we're most familiarized with, because I live in America. If you're watching this, you most likely live in America. And if you're not in America, make sure you leave that down in the comments or over in the side, because I love talking to my people internationally, especially as a Sagittarius. But when it does get to Venus, we're going to use the Greco-Roman Venus, right? More or better known as Aphrodite. Now, there's a lot to this lore, right? I'm going to be trying to gear and focus in on what's most relevant to the astrology. And then we're going to get into more of the Venus. I have literal examples of every single Venus sign up, celebrity and otherwise. And for those who want to just get more information in general, make sure that you sign up for my newsletter under the Stars We Wander. If I ever have any sales, if I ever have anything that's important that popped up, I just got featured in Parade magazine, which was really cool, talking about Mercury. So if you want to go check all of that stuff out, this is typically where I will drop what's going on in the astrology and also where to find the next cool thing that I'm doing, right? So make sure that you tune into that because I am slowly falling out of love with social media. So if you want to actually get in tune with all that, the best place to do it. I will be on YouTube though, for sure. YouTube is my main platform. I'm reaching 10K before December. Before my birthday, I'm reaching 10K. That's my statement. So if y'all can help me do that, make sure y'all leave a like, comment, subscribe. That ends up helping out the channel in that regard, and I would really appreciate that. After I give y'all the keys for Frizzle, for free. You feel me? Okay. So to dig deeper into Venus again. Now, all jokes aside, to dig deeper into Venus again. Venus was born beautiful, right? So when it came to the birth of Venus, the idea was somebody rubbed the chicken. The chicken spewed an egg. The egg fell into the sea. The sea made a foam, created a thing that was inside of a clamshell. Then the clamshell opened up, and then boom, the baddest baddie to ever baddie was born. Literally, that's canon. I'm keeping it PG enough because of that monetization. But that is literally what happened. So with this concept, Venus being born organically beautiful, and not even just beautiful, the most beautiful, and already grown, which was another prospect, right? They went straight into the phases of just like emanating what people find desirable. So when we approach our Venus, a lot of the times, we sometimes skip the idea of what we like. Sometimes it's harder for us to really know what we have liked. And it's more about the idea of being desirable, right? I had a very profound conversation with a close photographer friend of mine ages ago. And we were talking about the juxtaposition between like men and women and how they approach dating and who they like and more. Why do women date certain guys that they know aren't it? Why men go for certain women that they know aren't it? That type of conversation. And it told me something that like really changed my life, to be honest, just in terms of how I thought about it. Because we're like, the way that men get taught, you got to go up to the person you think is attractive. Are you going to like kind of like be with me type deal? It's like it's more of a having to go ahead and grab it, so to speak. And then she told me something. She was like, it's not even about that, I think, for a lot of women. Now, granted, if you feel different in the comments, make sure you sound it off and drop your Venus. But it was an interesting perspective for me at the time. And what she said, she was like, when a guy would come up to approach, it was less like, hey, are you the one? Or like, this is exactly what I wanted type deal. But she would be like, oh, I'm going through the motions of like, oh, this person's here. This person seems to like me. This person is trying to show up for me. Is this person the one? Let me see if I can give them a chance. And I think that that mindset has been ingrained so deeply within the psyche of the collective, especially from the Pluto and Scorpio, the Pluto and Sag generation, right? That like now when we look about the world of relationships, dating, etc., as we say, we're all cooked, right? It's like there's a lot of the tradition has melted away. A lot of the parts of courting and such like that have been melted away. But why is that? In my personal opinion, because people have been falling out of their Venus sign energy. My personal opinion, a lot of people have been forgetting that they are the desirable one as well. You can't you can't be in a something unless both sides are desiring the same frequency or the same thing. That's why sometimes people can get into situations where maybe they're, but then they get to a real conversation and nothing's clicking, right? Because it's like you haven't defined what you want, they haven't defined what they wanted. And have you ever noticed, in general, astrology aside, when two people want the same thing and they're attracted to one another and they treat each other well, it's kind of like things just work. Am I wrong? Could be wrong. I'm not. I'm sorry, Michelle. I know you yelled at me about those, but gotta do what I gotta do. So, but to continue on to this, right? Ooh, someone said, what are your thoughts and feelings about this upcoming eclipse and the energies are interesting with this next one? I will be covering the solar eclipse in Libra in full on this Sunday. But you bring in a good point because I'm going to talk about the solar eclipse right now, but we're going to be talking about Venus's impact on the solar eclipse. So that's a great question. So now we have entered inside of this cool space, right? Now, when we're looking at this right here, we're looking at Libra. And so I'm getting into a little bit more of an advanced astrology thing that I do. But for those who can follow along, please do. If you can't, make sure that you get the astrology one-on-one while I still have it out there on sale. Excuse me. But when it does come to this, we're going to look at this right here, the solar eclipse. Most people, when we're looking at the solar eclipse or astrologers in general, we're pretty much like, what's happening with the moon itself? What's happening with the sun and moon in this combination with this? We look at this briefly. There's a lot of things happening in Libra, which is all about relationships. There's a reason why I'm doing this Venus class right now, because we're in between eclipses that have to do with like what our heart truly wants. What do we want in our partnerships? How do we want to collaborate in the future? How do we want to like reach out to those who are actually resonant to us? All of those things are up and happening right now. So we're looking at it from that angle. But why did I mention Venus? What's the importance of Venus with that? Well, if y'all read my newsletter that I put out, the start of Libra season, same day, hours later, Venus went into Scorpio too. Since Libra rules, or sorry, Venus rules Libra, right? And Venus making that transition, we are impacted by a very Scorpio, Venus fueled Libra season. And not just that, a very Venus and Libra fueled solar eclipse. How does that work? Well, all this eclipse stuff is happening. And when we look at Venus isolated, right? During this solar eclipse, and again, I'm just using how Venus operates to everything else. If you can see at the top, Venus is making a trine over to Mars in Cancer. Your heart is going to be able to make moves that are designed in your emotional world, from your emotional passions, right? Now, what's Venus in Scorpio? It's about depth, about purity. It's about the intensity of emotion. It's about the truth behind the authenticity of your emotion, right? Venus and Scorpio is a really guttural kind of all or nothing, I love you forever kind of feeling that comes from it. Or I hate you forever, screw you, leave me alone. It's really a all or nothing kind of energy when it comes to Venus and Scorpio. Now, how's that working for the collective during the solar eclipse? Let's add another layer to that. It's also going to be making a trine over to Saturn and Pisces. So we have a grand water trine. Now, for y'all who don't know what I'm saying, please, no worries. And if anything, check out the Astrology 101. But the concept of all this is basically Venus is going to be tying together during this eclipse that's still about relationships, a deeper emotive spot from this, a deeper place of connectivity, a deeper space of desire. Are you actually being actively open about what you are desiring? Whether that be in a partner, whether that be with a partner in a bedroom, whether that be with a partner outside and about in the world, whether that be you just knowing how to treat yourself. Do you feel guilty about you making sure that you're good? These are those kind of conversations that end up coming up in that process. So I just kind of explained to you a little bit about how Venus is working right now, right? We're getting into the deeper parts of our emotions. Some of y'all are staying in on a Friday night to think and chill instead of being out like you might have been in the summer. Now, granted, it's because it's also fall, but it's more of an exploration. There's deeper thoughts, deeper mindsets, deeper things that are going on, right? Liv just asked, so this next eclipse will be heavily relationship focused in relation to your heart space. Yes, absolutely. Good time to evaluate your relationships and if they align with what your heart connects with. You are absolutely correct. I'm glad that you ended up summarizing that for all the people because that is spot on as to like what Venus is doing for us right now, right? So even if you look back at this years later when you're watching this and you check out your times and like your photos or something else like that, remember, try to remember emotionally what was going on during this time. And if you're in this right now and you're watching this live, view where you're at right now. Are you happy between you and the world of your relationships? Are you still blaming yourself for something that went wrong? Are you still pushing the envelope when maybe the universe has been telling you to chill? These are all the things that are starting to come through, right? Chantel just brought up a good point too. Between Disney and 90s R&B, love doesn't quite. Love did a doozy on growing ladies. Prayers for us. We all literally healed through reprogramming and relearning. And that's what Venus and Scorpio is low-key about. And that's why I was so hyped to like do this Venus live stream because this is the reprogramming and the relearning. Because as soon as I've seen this dozens of times, and we'll get more into the astrology in a second, I can't tell you how many clients, people, homies that I've had that come through with either strong Venus in their chart or strong Lilith in their chart, or both, right? These two specifically. And they have to reprogram, relearn, rechange, restructure how they view themselves to be beautiful, how they view themselves to like actually let themselves be a little seductive, let themselves be a little sultry. Oh no, what would the men at my job think? Screw them. Why do they matter? You're emanating this power that they can't comprehend. Don't let them comprehend it. They don't have to comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand that there was a big doozy, right? Okay. 1 second, y'all. I think I got unplugged real quick. That's okay though. I was talking too much. I was spitting too fast. They were not ready for it. Let me reset this real quick. Ignore this. Okay, we back. Anyway, I was talking too powerful. So to move forward from this, right? There has been a lot of like that back and forth between, do I sit here and be the princess and wait in the castle and send out a couple thirst traps into the world and see if my Prince Charming comes up? And then there's also the like, I'm going to live life deliciously and then let the world bring me what I know I'm worthy of. And this is where we get into those different things. Now, every Venus sign has a different flavor, right? Every Venus sign has a different flavor, and we're not done just speaking into the mythos yet. But I hope this is giving y'all a good overarching part to like how Venus is looking, how Venus kind of works. I'm gonna explain a little bit more of the mythology in a second. Actually, let me get into that now. So we're getting back into the Greco-Roman rendition of Venus. And so Venus, the most beautiful. Everyone desired her. Everybody wanted her, right? On the flip side of this, Venus got married off to Hephaestus, right? Who was the inventor of all the gods' cool stuff, right? So he made Zeus's lightning bolt. He made Hades' cloak. He did the Poseidon's trident. Like he was the guy to make all the cool stuff. The issue was in terms of Hephaestus is that Hephaestus was conventionally unattractive because Hephaestus got thrown down a mountain face first when he was a baby. And then they said, get up, deal with it, and start making me stuff. Hephaestus went through it, right? Really went through it. Not great self-esteem, but an excellent builder. Okay. So she gets married off to Hephaestus as an Olympian. She doesn't really have the choice of the matter. So let's even take this regard. The Venus as a goddess, most beautiful, was married off to a very capable man, but not a very handsome man. All due respect given. And with that being said, despite Hephaestus doing things like, I made you a Pegasus, here you go. I have built you a garden full of flowers that builds on itself, and all you have to do is look at it for it to grow more. Here you go. And all these other things, Venus wasn't getting hers, for lack of better term. With that being said, Venus said, I'm going to choose me. So Venus ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Venus ain't all like we got to be honest here. We got to talk about all this, right? So then Venus was like, I'm a baddie. I don't even have baddie friends because I'm too much. But then again, oh shoot. I see you over there, Mars, looking all grown, a little angry, real energized. What's good with you? And Mars was like, better quit showing concern. So, in terms of that, Venus and Mars start having the most legendary battles of conquest interactively, intimately, outside, everywhere, in all spaces of the universe and confines. And they just start going at it all the time. They've been out taking vacations together. You would have thought that like it's very akin to like how the time in the 2000s where when we were looking at Christian Grey, they're like, oh wow, he just does all the things. Like wow, like that's what Mars was pretty much on. Like Mars was like, hey, you know she bad. I'm gonna make sure that it's right. But at that point, you can see that Venus, although she was right married to Hephaestus, like we have to point this out too, she was still married. She did what she wanted to do. Hephaestus knew, but he had to deal with it. Was he upset about it? Yes. Matching each other's freak for real, but that's why we always talk about Mars and Venus. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing a Mars Masterclass next month, and this is going to be the opposite side of this month's one. And we're going to be getting into Mars too, and how you can actually use the divine masculine to your benefit without being the like screw the masculine vibration. We're breaking all that. We're heading into the age of Aquarius after this. Like we're really going to break this down, right? Cool. Never knew the Greek mythology behind Venus. Let me continue. Let's go in a little bit more, right? Let's keep it going. Because Venus was also just petty because she was the fairest of them all. As a matter of fact, let me break this part down, then I'm gonna break another part down, right? So esoterically, and I'm just going to keep it a bean. This isn't to get religious. I'm gonna keep it a buck, and this is what I do, right? Esoterically, Venus is actually the angel of Lucifer known in the Bible. Why is that though? And I'm not saying Lucifer, devil, different things, just to give you this context. Different things, a lot of convolution, but Lucifer was the light bringing part. That was the first angel to oppose God. So let's just put that there, right? So with that being said, all that gets the religion aside, this is the mythos that's behind it. So basically, Lucifer was elite at music, art, all things beautiful, creating things. Wow, splendor. And there's a lot of stories behind this. This is the one I think makes most sense to me. So I want to explain to you the background, right? So basically, there's a time frame where all of them, the angels living in harmony, living it up, doing it, whatever. Like they all had different roles, but they were existing in paradise, so to speak. And then one day, God was like, hey, you want to know what? We're making humans. You have to abide by the humans. The humans are actually your masters at this point, quote unquote. You have to work with them. You have been demoted from the homies like side by side with me to now you're gonna be working on my better creations. And so at the time, Lucifer like, bruh, what's up with that? We supposed to shine, I thought. I thought we were doing our thing. Don't y'all agree? Turns around to everybody, everyone's like, I don't know, man. So he's like, yo. And so he triples down. He's like, yo, like, why are we gonna do all this? And the story goes, because he ended up having that, hey, no, I want to be beautiful. I want to be seen. I want to show my light too. I thought we were all equal type deal. He got cast out of the heavens. And then when we think about the biblical thing, which is a different thing, I will explain that some other day. But the way that we get taught in schools and church, whatever, is that after that it got brought in, and then he became what is known today as Devil, right? Now, why did I explain this full story? Because in the heart of hearts of the origin story of that, he just was like, hey, let's make things beautiful. Hey, I thought we were all equal and balanced and seeking harmony with one another. I thought we were using the light that we all had to help make things prettier and better for us, not to subservient to something else. And Venus has a very similar vibe. Why? Because Venus, even in the Greek mythos and the Roman astrology and such, she refused to like bow down to anything else. You know what I'm saying? She refused to bow down. She refused to bow out. She was not going to be sitting there and like dealing with some BS. She was going to always make sure that she felt right. She felt love. She felt desire. She did what she was passionate about, which has its good side and also has its downside. One of the examples being, and I'm paraphrasing here, I haven't read the story again beforehand because I didn't want to skew my overall part, but I do want to explain this, right? So pretty much it was during when was it? Basically, there was a time frame where Paris, Paris was the bad boy of like back in the day, and I can't remember. Okay, I can't remember the full thing, but basically there was this thing where they were asking Paris who was the finest of them all between like Hera, Venus slash Aphrodite, and like Athena, and then he made the wrong choice, and all the other goddesses started off the war because of it. So basically, he was like, "Yeah, I want to pick you," and then they're like, "Oh, that's what you think," and so then the other goddesses just rained the world down upon that, which also kind of gives a cautionary tale of like why Venus is like when you give the all of beauty, you can expect war after if not done properly, and not just that. Well, that's like the hell hath no rage like a woman's fury. That type of idea comes there in that process as well. So like there's a lot of like other sides to that Venus point, right? So it's about desire. It's about what you're gaining. It's about what you enjoy, what you like. And sometimes it's about like what you sometimes overpower to gain what you're ended up like, what you really what you really want to have as well. But we're gonna take this on a different note, right? Because as we align to the astrology part, I think that this light of Venus moves a little different. But I want to explain it in a way that makes sense, is palpable, let y'all use stuff in your practical world and more. And I will say this one more time. For those of y'all who are here right now, if y'all ever wanted to support me, show some love, I do all of these for free as much as I can. So if you want to get a deep dive on your, if you want to do a deep dive on your specific Venus sign, make sure that you end up signing up for the mini reading. I have it pinned up in the comment section. I also have it down below, or end up getting a reading from me. I'm in a really strong transition phase between like an old job, new job, and I've been dealing with a lot of those in between. So anything that ends up popping up definitely helps if I'm being transparent. Um, but yeah, appreciate y'all. Cool. And feel free to look into all those mythos yourself. If you register or you align yourself to, let's say, more of the Mayan pantheon, who's Venus to them, right? If you're someone who is into more Celtic stuff, who's Venus to them? This is how you start to really bridge in how Venus works between everything. Okay. So, okay. I've talked a lot of things. I took a sip of my no awake juice. All right. We have, this is the solar eclipse, which we'll be breaking down on the 29th. So let's wait until then. But in between that, let's start to have fun. So one more time, this is Under the Stars We Wander. This is my newsletter. This is going to be the easiest way to know what I'm doing, what I'm up to. Anytime I have anything important to say, or if I did something cool, I will probably put it there. Pull up, Sav, say less. So let me just open this up real quick, just to pull through. So this is it. This is the one I did for today. So if anyone, y'all, what happens if I click it to know what I'm, oh, that's weird. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling past. That was weird. Hey, subscribe. Oh, don't do this. I'm doing that. That's because that's me. Anyway, but as we break this down, right, this just goes through some of it. As a matter of fact, Libra Venus and Taurus Venus are the most heightened Venuses. But like I said, I'm just leaving more info. And if y'all really want to get funky with it, I have, oh, these are all my readings actually. So I'll just leave this up here. But basically, in terms of this, Venus is going to be like the core aspect to you truly understanding like love. And not just that, like once you know your Venus, you know what you like. Once you know your Venus, you know what you're desiring. Once you know your Venus, you know what you want to bring into your world. And I promise you, the secret, like that's where abundance comes in. A lot of people are looking for other blessings that ain't belong to you. That's not your Venus. That's not your vibe. That's not even what you're trying to attract. Oh my God, it's the most beautiful person in the world. Why don't they look at me? Meanwhile, you're looking for like true and emotional, like sincerity. That's not necessarily going to come from that. It could. You got it like that. It could. That person could be your soulmate for all we know. But this is how we start to break that down a little bit deeper. Okay. I saw What If I Could, also between jobs. That's all good. That's why I have the mini readings too. The mini readings $30. I think it's like 33 max type deal. But that's what those are for. Because like I 100% know people are coming from all different walks of life. Whether you've met me from seeing me talk to a rich celebrity-ish person to like just anybody else in between. Like I'm here for all of y'all. So I want to always make sure that there's something for everybody the best I can. Especially as I start to slowly step away from social media on my own accord, even while I'm working for other social media stuff. So I don't want to do my own stuff anymore. And I just focus more on YouTube and give y'all real information on a more consistent basis, at least once a weekend. So that's a very Venus and Scorpio thing to do. All right. Hathor Mythos, the mother of mothers. That's more of the Venus side of Taurus, which I would recommend looking into, which is the original side. So this is the last thing I'm gonna say beforehand. Venus rules both Taurus and Libra, right? Venus is Libra is the masculine expression of Venus, which you might be confused because you're like, Libras, so pretty. They just make all, yeah, but they make that happen. You know what I'm saying? Like they make beauty happen. They will take the time to do their face. They will go and fight for the fashion that's coming up with that part. That's the part that people don't see about that. That's the more masculine expression of that. Also, have you ever had a Libra woman catch an attitude with you? No, just me. That's okay. It's a beautiful thing. Now, all jokes aside, I do love it. I'm not gonna lie. But getting into the second part, when it does get to the Taurus, right? The Taurus rendition of that is closer to the Hathor, the mothers of mothers. Why? Because Venus and Taurus is more on the concept of like Mother Earth. And I'm like, again, look into the mythos more for what it is that you resonate to learn deeper parts of things, because that's when you get into the real sauce. But okay, you might have to get a reading from me to unpack it. Yes, you should. Anybody, anybody that gets one, I'm shouting them out during the live stream. I'm shouting them out. I'm be like, wow, it's all popping up. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. I've talked to my ish enough. Let's really dig into this. Let's break this stuff down. So let's start getting into that. Let's actually just scroll up real quick and we're going to talk about this, right? So, what we find attractive, our overall approach to relationships and pleasure, and it shapes your love language and values. So, here's what I'm going to do today. Typically, I like to be difficult because I'm me. But today, I'm going to go through each Venus sign one by one. I'm going to point out some celebrities in that sign. If you see somebody who's a terrible person there, they're just a terrible person. It doesn't mean that your Venus is set up to be that way. No worries at all. If you see somebody and you're like, oh my God, I love this person, make sure there wasn't at no Diddy party outside of that. Let's get into it. All right. I know I have to have my eventual story. I have a lot of story times I need to have, to be honest. This is like the time I escaped the Diddy party. Like way beforehand, I got the bad intuition. As a matter of fact, if I didn't leave that job fair weird thing beforehand, 3 days apart, it was 3 days apart from me having to deal with the music industry at the worst level or me becoming an astrologer. So these are the times. I'll explain later on. But the Libra masculine expression makes so much more sense. And this is what we're here for. Okay, let's get into the Venuses, going through each sign, each placement, and keep it rocking from there. Okay, so I forget, I be clicking stuff. Oh my gosh, ignore the ads. The only ads that should be there on my channel. Okay, so we're getting into this next part. Marilyn Monroe. And if you see me just talk poetic, ignore me. I like things. Marilyn Monroe. Hi, Marilyn Monroe. She's a Venus in Aries. Rihanna. Rihanna. We have the same forehead and lips. That's a great time. All right, and then we're going on Lady Gaga. Your weird self playing Harley Quinn. And Albert. Anyway, so ads are great. And then the next thing we're gonna have is Albert Einstein. So what does let's talk about Marilyn Monroe. Let's just talk about Marilyn. Daddy doing the dang thing, pioneering the baddies for the rest of time. She was so ill when the president was the most important thing you could be in the world to like people in real time and not on the internet and all that. She got up and sang to one of the steeziest presidents of all time, the happy birthday song, all seductively. It had the nation messed up. Venus and Aries is this, like when beauty becomes actionable is where Venus and Aries comes in, right? I think Venus and Aries is one of those signs that likes actually knows how to use their beauty a little bit more actively. I feel like in the younger years of Venus and Aries, they're coming off very insecure in terms of like womanliness. Like they're going to be a little bit more competitiveness or competitive in like sports or something, or they might have like a rivalry with some girl on their team and it'd be like, I don't know what it is. I just don't like her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that could be a bunch of different things. Well, that's half of you in here. But for everybody else, right? The Venus and Aries portion, when it gets to like the competition of getting to the heart of things. So a Venus in Aries almost wants to claim what they like before everybody else, right? Venus and Aries by accident are trendsetters and pioneers. And every Venus and Aries woman that I know pops up at some point with an exact copycat clone that's like trying to do exactly what they're doing. And so you ever see somebody who like they change up their whole aesthetic and you're like, why you just change up everything, right? Why you just change up like all your whole flow? Like that's not where you at. That's not your energy. That's somebody else. Like that makes sense for them. That doesn't make sense for you. I bet you they copy the Venus and Aries, you know what I'm saying? Because Venus and Aries, they really step into the prowess of like, yo, like I'm not just here to be cutesy. I'm here to be here, right? If you're intimidated by how I look, be intimidated. And if I scare you a little bit, that might also make me feel pretty good about myself, right? Venus in Aries is the type of lady who would like to, quote unquote, gently press foot on the neck sides of most men and show them what they about. That's mad funny that you're saying that. I do know the story, but that's literally one of those things with Venus and Aries where it's like there's a bunch of random haters, specifically women, and then there's a bunch of men who are also intimidated by y'all because y'all don't step down and y'all will not react or exist in the traditional way, right? Venus and Aries, it has a closer to Lilith kind of vibration, I would say. For those y'all who don't know Lilith, I have a whole Lilith masterclass as well, breaking down your Lilith and how to find it as well. I would definitely check that out. But Venus and Aries is a strength of that. Let's talk about one more part to Venus and Aries because remember how I said everyone wanted to copy them? I'm gonna give the case, excuse me. I'm gonna give the case of Rihanna. Look at Rihanna. Wow. You want to know something though? Oh wait, I didn't even show you. Look at Rihanna. Wow. All right, now we're gonna. You want to know something? Okay. But you want to know something? I remember to this day, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It was in middle school. I was in 8th grade. Rihanna had recently come out with an umbrella. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I loved me some Rihanna when she first came out. I said, who the fuck's under her umbrella, Ella? I was sprung. I was like, wow, yes, her all the time. Please, pun the replay. I'll play whatever she got. Cool. And you want to know what happened? This is a very Venus and Aries thing too. Everybody at my school, now granted, I went to a private school. Not a lot of kids look like me. Very different world. And I remember everyone being like, ugh, Rihanna's not even pretty. I was like, don't you talk about Rihanna. And not talk about no Robin in my face like that. And then she dyed her hair red. Then she hung out with Eminem that one time, and every dude ever, oh, she's so hot, bro. Oh man, I love Rihanna. She's so why? Because she went full Venus and Aries. She said, I'm gonna dye my hair red. I'm gonna start kicking people back. Bad girl Riri. That's all Venus and Aries. Shout out to someone, the Arthur Fist. Yes, 100%. But that is actually, I'm gonna load that up. For people who don't understand this is why I'm glad I have the internet here. Because I know I have some of y'all in here who are a bit older, and I want y'all to be able to understand the fleeting mind of a young Gen Z person. But just okay. So basically, right, with that, they need to get their eyes checked. Facts. But also, I would almost go to say that Rihanna wasn't even in her energetic Venus side of things yet either. So like, so peep me with this. Rihanna's one of the most beautiful women in the world that we talk about often. There's a lot, not the point. And what I can say though, is that it's like she was getting scrutinized. And then she stepped into her Venus and everyone else was like, whoa. And then she never had to look back ever since. Auntie, Savage, Fenty. Come on. Good for her. That's Venus and Aries though. It's the bad girl reputation. It's the woman that could sing to the president to their faces. Lady Gaga is about to play a Harley Quinn, and she's not even playing a traditional Harley Quinn. She's playing a different Harley Quinn. I don't know how I feel about it, but you want to know what she's doing? She's pioneering. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as someone who loves more traditional stuff, I think Margot Robbie did an excellent job playing her. But like, what do you have next? What do you have that's different? What do you have that's more authentic to you that you're bringing to this role? That's Venus and Aries. So I hope that this celebrity back and forth has been helping out a little bit more. I'm I'm interested to see how this goes in the future. And part of why I want to do celebrities now is because, like, by the age of Aquarius, like, celebrities ain't gonna be a thing like that as much. But we already saw the case and why that is. So I will keep on moving. Protect the people of the world. Okay, moving past and moving forward. So YouTube doesn't be YouTube about stuff sometimes. Even though YouTube's a better platform, honestly, when it comes to like anything that's real, I'm gonna be just straightforward. They really are the most like do your thing as long as it's not geared to the wrong places. So I respect them for that entirely. Back to the internet, right? Mind you, Astro Theme, this website right here, I learned so much astrology from that. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, right? Also, we're in Venus and Taurus. Ignore the first person that's here. Ignore him. Okay, cool. Let's go to Johnny Depp. Wow, surprise. But yes, the concept, let's say with this Venus and Taurus, and even if I'd watch, let's say Pirates of the Caribbean, I would pull up Johnny Depp, I would look up his chart, and like I learned how actors act by just seeing the patterns over time, right? I figured out, oh, I like this part to his character because he's showing off his moon here. That's a real strong tip for y'all in general. And if you want to learn how to kind of get better at the arts, peep that and then find out who's doing that in this other regard as well. Who just sent me money? Shout out Olivia. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate you. We're gonna be talking soon. I'm gonna explain all your astrology. Okay, so anyway, Johnny Depp, right? So Johnny Depp, known as a ladies' man. If you see a young Johnny Depp, I ain't even gonna lie, boy, had it. Good for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? You have been surpassed on the throne, but yeah, what you had to do. All right, so okay, I'm gonna read that afterward, but I want to at least break down Venus and Taurus first, right? So Venus and Taurus is more so like they have this staying power about them. I'm gonna go through a couple more people just so you can like see what I'm saying. But Johnny Depp, freaking Diana, Princess of Wales. I just saw something yesterday about Diana. Oh, I have to click this. Diana, Princess of Wales. I just saw something yesterday about her, and she was in front of the pyramids of Egypt. And when she was in front of the pyramids of Egypt, you saw her like stop, and she was like, "Oh, like I don't want to like basically trample on these people's culture. Like I don't need to take the pictures in front of here. I don't want to like start anything wrong like that. Like I just want to like respect it." And then the photographer that was trying to take the picture, and as a photographer, I understand this, but they're like the photographer's just like, yeah, but like, what's more beautiful than you, the pyramids or you type deal. He said something like that. And she was like, oh, well, since you flattered me like this, that's Venus and Taurus, baby. Venus and Taurus is like, remember how I told you Venus is home sign in Taurus? We talk about Princess, I call her Princess Di in my hand. I don't know nothing about no like royal family for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I call her Princess Di out of love. I just knew she was dope. The fact that even in her passing, all I know about her is that she was dope. I'm looking at her right now. I'm like, she's steezy. She was about it. Right? That's Venus and Taurus. They just have like this part of them that just radiates and oozes like that. Am I a healer or an empath? I don't know. Answer in the chat below. Okay. Ariana Grande. And although I know a lot of y'all have some gripes about Ariana Grande, I have to like still show her love because that was the first celebrity I ever talked to. And I had an ill crush. She answered me back and I was like, I'm cool. And then she also lit a candle that I wrote at a very important time in her career. And to see how that worked was really interesting. So I had to give love to Ariana Grande. Um, Now, granted, she be switching cultural backgrounds with swiftness. I'm not going to deny that was true. But when we at least get to the Venus and Taurus part, and if you look at how she at least goes about all the stuff aesthetically, like she doesn't, and it's funny because she doesn't just like live in that era. She does everything that she can to like mold into that thing. It's a Venus and Taurus thing. Like she stays in that culture for that whatever culture that she's starting to emulate, whatever culture she's starting to. It's not that she just makes it up overnight. She will sit there, stay in it, learn from people in it, exist in it, and then she'll pop out and kind of like bring that extra part to things, right? So that's one thing I could like at least say, like that's like the part of that Venus and Taurus thing is that it does take them time to do that. Let's even use Johnny Depp for example. When you saw Johnny Depp, like on every role that he did, it's not until he lets it become natural, when it becomes like part of his body, how he moves, how he sees, how he goes about all the things in his life, that he like fully goes into that character, right? So Venus and Taurus is all about like letting it sink into the senses, letting it sink into like who you are and what's going on with that, right? despite, and on the flip end, I know, for example, even with Princess Diana that I was mentioning a bit ago, she wasn't about everything else that they were about at that time frame, right? Here's another person. And although we have a lot of controversy, but the controversy that you used to hear, you're seeing the other side of that now too. Kanye's. So when it comes to Kanye, Kanye is also Venus and Taurus, right? In every aspect of when he changes or when he's done something, he has literally let it all like download. And then he has a crazy idea and he's like, let me make this into art. That's Venus and Taurus in a sense, right? And all these people that I've pointed out to you in this regard all like the finer things. I'm sure I can pull up an interview between Johnny Depp, Kanye, and Ariana Grande of them naming something egregiously expensive that they spent their money on and didn't bat an eye at. Why? Venus and Taurus also love quality, right? Despite how you might feel about these people, and I know that they have all had different things in their personal lives that have been blasted out to the airwaves, and granted, you have a right to feel however you want to feel about them, but you also don't know. So I got onto that too. When it gets to the other side to this, is that Venus and Taurus aspect is like making sure you can keep that staying power, making sure that you can keep going on despite the cost, because each one of those examples that I named are all people that, despite what people say about them, are still doing what they set out to do and make beauty their own way continuously every time. That's why I wanted to point this out for like Venus and Taurus. Y'all have a really strong staying power. Venus and Taurus, y'all are also like, I have like when it comes to Venus and Taurus, y'all can finesse in a way a lot of other signs can't finesse. The reason why is because it's like you don't even have to like particularly like someone in order for someone to want to do stuff for you. You just like show up and you're like, here I am. It's like you almost have this energy of like, I already deserve it. And other people just like give it to you. That's some finesse with Venus and Taurus. So if you want to know how to manifest a little better, the Venus and Taurus, when people say like, oh, you have to act like it's already yours, that's your mantra, not everybody else's. So more power to y'all. It's a little bit on Venus and Taurus though. Obviously, it works on everyone else's chart. Just because you have Venus and Taurus doesn't mean you're going to automatically be rich, but you will have a lot of values into a particular something. Does depend on the chart. So if you do have Venus and Taurus and you want to deep dive a little bit deeper, make sure that you tune in for the deep dive session. Well, okay, I'm reloaded. All right, so moving a little bit forward, let's cut out all these ads. Let's get to Venus in Gemini. And if anyone has any questions in the process as I explain one, just drop them below and I can go back for a second. Just to let y'all know. Okay, Venus in Gemini. Who is a Venus in Gemini? I ain't even looked, to be honest. Let's figure this out. Robert Pattinson. This is my Batman. Look ahead, Batman. Jennifer Lo. I'm sorry, that was ghetto. J-Lo. Oh, J-Lo. Megan Fox. Oh, Megan. Elon Musk. David Beckham looks like a Venus in Gemini. Look at this. Look at this man. He looks like he's about to cause disaster in ladies' lives. And the boy JFK. All right, let's go up real quick. Now, these two have appeared on a list I don't like, but let's talk about them. Right? Let's talk about J-Lo. So J-Lo. I don't want to talk about J-Lo. I want to talk too much crap. Let's talk about Megan Fox. I did love me some Megan Fox, respectfully. Let's talk about Megan Fox instead. Still on there. She's a little more witchy. We could rock with this. Megan Fox, though. Transformers? First of all, if you were around during the Transformers era, when Megan Fox first came out, this was like every man that you know who likes ladies had to sit there for a second, step back, and be like, is this the girl next door of all of our dreams? When Megan Fox first came out in Transformers, it shocked so many people. It made men's brains go, why? Because the Venus and Gemini aspect to it. What do I mean by this? Venus and Gemini as a energetic is like girl next door. right? Someone's like work husband or wife type deal. Venus in Gemini is a person who leaves a place with two people and hasn't decided who they want to be with. Why am I saying it that way? Because Venus in Gemini needs excitement. And if they don't get excitement, they're going to cause it. And so when it gets to Venus in Gemini in general, um, this ends up becoming like one of those other things. Thank you, Chantel. Appreciate you. But when it comes to the rest of this aspect with this Venus in Gemini, it's this ability to like also just be able to like captivate multiple people at once, so to speak. What I mean by this is that Venus and Gemini understands that there's like this air lightheartedness and airiness that like typically men find attractive. However, the trick behind Venus and Gemini is like, oh yeah, you can have me briefly. I mean, yeah, of course we're together. Sorta. Oh, what's your friend do again? He's way hotter. That's what Venus and Gemini is on it. Y'all some dogs. I respect it though. Venus and Gemini is like, oh, Liv, I know it wasn't just a man. I know it wasn't just a man. I can't speak for all of y'all. I can speak from what I know and what I experience. I do talk to people. People told me a bunch of stuff. Y'all notice how I stopped? Y'all notice how I stopped on that still? You know how I stopped on that still? You know what? This is what ladies see when they think Megan Fox. Don't be starting with me. But regardless, right? Jokes aside, even with J-Lo, all right, even with J-Lo though, J-Lo is like known again for being the girl next door. Jenny from the block, girl next door. Same concept. It's like how are you this fine person in this neighborhood and ain't nobody got you yet? And they're like, I'm good. Low key fact. I feel like most people that have Venus and Gemini, they don't find their person until like after they have like, as we call the hell phase. But like they gotta like really just exist and enjoy people, because then Venus and Gemini learn how to like be a partner to somebody who brain does the same buzz thing that's theirs, right? Or Venus and Gemini will be like, I'm the excitable one and I'm dealing with a really boring person, but they do all the other stuff that I'm not good at. Venus and Gemini is like certified yappers, great conversations, funniest dating stories you'll ever probably come across. But how many people did y'all date? Y'all remember? Y'all be out here for real, for real. I respect it, but y'all be like, wee. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's like part of the learning process though for Venus and Gemini, and why you also know how to relate to so many different people. Venus and Gemini, if you want real life advice, like real love advice, you want to do like a breakup, you about to deal with something, ask Venus and Gemini, they'll like tell you, they'll be like, Venus and Gemini will be like, oh, you want to get over them? You need to get under somebody. Or they'll be like, you need to get over them. You need to sit this one out. Trust me. You need to sit it all out. Venus and Gemini will have so much advice because their antics lead them into learning more things in that process, right? Yeah. So moving on from JLo, I don't have a lot of good things to say about her. Let's talk about Robert Patty Boy. Let's talk about Robert Pattinson. This is my Batman. Shout out Edward mostly. He does. I enjoy him as an actor. Very, very subtle shade for JLo. A little bit. You know what I'm saying? She did a lot of things to mess up some culture, and also was very close to a very astringent man in the current media. So, getting closer. Robert Pattinson. This man done played 2 bats twice. But like the reason why it's funny, I appreciate Robert Pattinson's career because he always picks something so seemingly random. Like one time he's like a British dude doing some British people cool stuff. Then another time he's like screaming in the rain and crying or something. The next time he's a teen heartthrob for ladies across the world. And then he's just Batman. It's like, Robert Pattinson, what are you doing? But here's the thing. He knows how to get into each of those hats, right? He knows how to play into each of those hats. But he went from like, hey, I'm just emo vampire to I'm an emo vampire man with muscles. And he was able to play them both. I think he did a good job. But it's like this song. It's still like a playfulness about it. It's like the ability to now want to try something new. Matter of fact, the most Venus and Gemini thing that Robert Pattinson did was when he ended up taking on that voice from the person who made Spirited Away. I can't think of his name right now, but he ended up playing like a crow, like this really like different creature. And it was like him branching out of his regular comfort zone, getting into animation, but it was just something new for him to try, and he killed that part too. I have to watch the whole movie, and I'll let y'all know when I do. That's kind of this overview, I would say, of Venus in Gemini. Someone said don't talk about Musk. That's fine. But actually, I'll say the one thing about Musk is just Twitter. How Venus and Gemini is it to own Twitter and then name it X instead. You know what I mean? The last one I'll talk about, we're gonna talk about hello. Literally, Venus and Gemini, her calling on the phone. Hello, it's me. I was wondering. Hello from the other side. Just so that whole song is a Venus and Gemini catching feelings one time. Out of all the stuff they did, that's a Venus and Gemini catching feelings. So if you ever have somebody hit you with some Adele and they're a Venus and Gemini, you better stay with them. They're down. They're down for the cause. I appreciate y'all for pulling through rock with me. Make sure that y'all leave a like and all that other stuff, because it's really annoying to say, but apparently if I say it, people do it sometimes, and that's really genuinely helpful for this channel. I think like whenever we get like enough comments and likes, I'll hit like 1,000 more views just organically. It's crazy how it works. I don't know why it's like this. I do know why it's like this, but I do need y'all help. So if y'all can pull through for that, this is what keeps these things free. So for now, I'll play. All jokes aside, the caffeine is reaching me. I can breathe again. I'm here. Okay. So let's skip on over to this next part, right? Now, we're talking about Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer is where we start to like care and nurture a bit more. I feel like when it comes to Venus in Cancer, unlike the first 3 zodiac signs, it's kind of like figuring this thing out between like, I'm here, and then I have this, and I want to go all the way over here. Venus in Cancer is the one that's like, y'all can find me. Like, what? Venus in Cancer's like, I don't need all that. Y'all can find me when y'all ready. Don't even worry about me for real. Why am I saying this like this? Well, Venus in Cancer really does have their emotions wrapped around their heart, right? Venus and Cancers are moody lovers, but they're consistent in the fact that they love you, right? Venus and Cancer will show you all the care in the world, nurture you exactly the way that you want, and then one day you'll piss off Venus and Cancer by like forgetting a spoon on the microwave, and then they'll just do the other side of all of that. They'll be like, oh, you wanted your blanket washed? Oops, I forgot. It's over there on the floor though. You could take care of it. And you're like, what just happened? So here's a kicker with Venus and Cancer. Venus and Cancer just want to take care of you. Venus and Cancer just want to like make sure that you are spiff and polished before you walk out the door. Venus and Cancer is going to ask you if you ate today many a times until you eat. Then they're going to be like, send me a picture of your plate being empty so I know that you ate. And it better not be you feeding it to the dog, because then I'm going to check the flow. That's Venus and Cancer. I ain't going to lie. Now, granted, on the other side of that, for people that you love, y'all go from being on this whole like motherly journey. Y'all got to get out that other part somewhere. Y'all be doing y'all whatever. Ain't my business. But I can say is that when it does come to Venus and Cancer, it's like, if I can't take care of you, how can I love you? Which is a weird concept, but also it does make sense. And yes, I'm calling everybody out for real. That's what I do. This is astrology. Well, I'm talking about signs. You just happen to have them. That's how that goes. So, all right, let's get into the next part, right? So, Venus and Cancer. These are the people who are going to, oh, do not talk about him. We do not talk about him. We can talk about her mostly. Keanu, he's a good one. Shout out to Keanu. Chris Evans, we could talk about America's booty. Natalie Portman, that's where we slowly start falling off. Zendaya low-key evil, respectfully. I respect her vibe though. There's just something was in there I always see, and I'm like, respectfully. Okay, so we do not talk about you. We do not talk about you. No. Okay, so Angelina Jolie. Talk about her. Anyway, so Angelina Jolie was the it girl of the 2000s at a certain era, right? Now, one thing with Angelina Jolie is that like she had, and this is the best way for me to put it, she had the type of finesse or the type of love that a lot of actors and actresses would assume would be more based off of the vibration of Leo, but it's actually, in my personal thought, her Venus in Cancer that's running that and her Cancer rising. So she's not ruled by the sun, but she does have that rulership of the moon. And specifically for her, because her rising is also in Cancer, that means she has Venus close to her rising sign. So sometimes when Venus is on your rising or close to that energy in general, you start to actively push more of a Venusian note onto things. But hers is in Cancer. And so what was the thing with this? She was like, I feel like where Megan Fox for a lot of people was like the girl next door. She was like the, oh, she's like a image. She's an illusion, right? Like she's like a, oh, this would be really cool. She's such a badass. She's so cool. Like when people start to get the fantasizing in their brain, they're just like, oh, like someone who's like real like caring and nurturing, but also like real tough when it comes to fighting and all this other stuff. That's kind of like the appeal when it comes to this. So like Venus and Cancer, that isn't just like love and nurturing. Venus and Cancer are mad able to get aggressive when they want to too, especially if they give you the fruits of their labor and then you spit back in their face in one way or another. Brother, ugh, like you don't want that. That's not what you want. You know what I'm saying? Keanu Reeves. Shout out to my boy Keanu. So Keanu Reeves, one of the good ones. Venus in Cancer. John Wick. John Wick. Literally, you just look at John Wick. He played that character. All he wanted was his lady, his dog, and to quit his job, stay home. That's all he wanted. That's it. Like if you look at John Wick's story, that's all he wanted. They done did everything to mess up this boy John Wick life. And John Wick said, I'm coming for all of you. And then he did. I haven't watched the last one. Please don't spoil it. But John Wick said, screw everybody. And from them messing with his home unit, he said it's up for the world. Each and every one of y'all is done for. But Venus in Cancer is also about protecting the turf. It's also about protecting like what's really sacred to you and who's really sacred to you in that process. Whether they're here or gone, doesn't matter. You're still holding up their honor. That is my boy Keanu. And now we're going to go to, oops, that's the wrong thing. Now we're going to talk to this boy, Chris Evans, also known as America's Booty. And America's also a Cancer, and Venus in Cancer, he has. And so the fact that him as Captain America being double cheeked up on a Friday in that one meme made him America's ass is very akin to Venus in Cancer. There's another astrologer. Her name's Astro Eleanor. Make sure you give her a follow. I have to high key hit her up to do a collaboration someday. I love her work. But she was explaining the astrology of big butts. And it just reminded me of that because I think like part of it applies to him technically because of his chart, which is hilarious. But yeah. Ooh, someone's saying I was going to ask that. Your Cancer Venus in the 12th house. So your Cancer. So if you have Venus in the 12th house, you're not ruled by Venus. It's when you have Venus like closer to the first house. I'm rounding. I'm not getting into everyone's chart specifically right now because I'm explaining a lot of things as we can see. But if it was more in the first house, that'd be true. Or if it was very close, I would consider that would be an important aspect to it. But that's more of like a mini reading question for me to fully divulge in that than anything else. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna skip over to Venus and Leo. I'm gonna click on one of those charts there to kind of show you one of the differences, and I'll keep it moving from there. And then he did. Okay, so this right here, the next one, excuse me for my face being so close. Okay, now we have Venus and Leo. Venus and Leo, y'all are like y'all are yearners. Venus and Leo are like the real yearners. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Venus and Pisces. Venus and Leo and Venus and Pisces, y'all are the true yearners of the zodiac. Madonna, because you could be big as Madonna. Just get in the car, man. Anyway, but what I can say, Madonna is Madonna, dog. Come on, bro. Are you for? If I left it right here, Venus and Leo was just like Madonna, and I just stopped there and keep it going. Like Madonna really was the first, like one of those people who pushed that Venus element out into the world where people just had to either want it or respect it, right? To the point where like one of Tupac's crown achievements within his lifetime was the fact that he at least dated a Madonna for a minute. What? Madonna, like a virgin again, Madonna? What? Come on. So the thing about this, right? Not just Madonna, we have Michael Jackson. So two phenomenal performers. Michael Jackson is one of the best performers, period. If you don't know, look it up. And if you think something else, look it up. Because old boy got up on stage, sang, shrieked his heart out, hit every move, never missed a beat, especially from Joe Jackson, unfortunately. But, oh, and Selena Gomez. Oh, you can't even see what I'm saying. And they did her dirty in this picture, yo. Why you gonna do a shorty so dirty in this picture? She's a Venus and Leo. Y'all gonna give her this photo? That's messed up. Y'all ain't ready for that. Anyway, so we have Madonna, because it's Madonna. We have Michael Jackson, because it's Michael Jackson. We have Selena Gomez. And Selena Gomez even. Oh, and we have Hornball McGee. We have Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman. Let's talk about Nicole Kidman. Let's do that. Okay. She's a Venus and Leo. Have you seen her performance in Eyes Wide Shut? There was a very short clip from Eyes Wide Shut. It's a Stanley Kubrick movie about the Diddy party. For lack of better terms. But basically in her part, there's this monologue she has, which was sampled by Frank Ocean in his original. I'm being a nerd now. And Nostalgia Ultra and the song Love Crowns was my favorite song off Nostalgia Ultra. It made me a Frank Ocean fan. Regardless, in this part, she's like, "You're so sure of yourself, aren't you? And you've never been jealous about me. Why have you never been jealous about me? You're very sure of yourself, aren't you?" And like, that Venus and Leo that she administered there, I was like, oh, like there was so much passion, so much flair. I think y'all might have heard her when I saw her. Whenever I see her pop up on a movie, I was be like, oh, there she is. She's Hornball McGee. Because she's always just like emanating sexual magnetism. Even when she's wearing a weird wig in a movie on Netflix, nobody knows why they made a wig that weird. She's still like just radiating this like grandeur in this process. This like this true fire of passion, so to speak. And it's palpable. Like we can feel it. We can see it. We can feel it. We can hear it. We can through the screen. You could be like, oh, okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? And she's a menace with that. But it's all about like her attraction that she's able to like emanate, despite how old she is, despite anything else. That's like a pure heart to outward connection that coming through with her Venus and Leo that leads her to be like that, right? Now let's get to Selena Gomez. So Selena Gomez, you might not know, she's not as popping in the States as she is overseas. But Selena Gomez overseas? It's royalty. Oh my God. I think she was like the top charting like artist ever, just like everywhere else. Like, and I don't know a Selena Gomez song on top of my head. I don't. Right. But Venus and Leo, even if she had to change the locations of where her kingdom is, she gets so much love in so many other places across the globe. And one thing I appreciate about watching at least Selena Gomez do her thing is that she just seems like she does the stuff that she likes, right? Even if she is with that awful looking man who may be close to Hephaestus looking, um, she's happy. She's happy. She's still glowing. She's doing her thing. Like that's one of those things that really guide like Venus and Leo. It's like, what's making me happy? And screw what y'all think. I'm gonna make it look good, right? So she's with a man who is not classically appealing in the face, but she's hyping him up so much that he's like, maybe I am really handsome. Like that's the type of power that Venus and Leo has, the true yearners. And I mean this in all due respect. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not like an above or whatever thing. Like, it's just so he a weird looking dude. He even said he a weird looking dude. That was from his mouth. I didn't even say that. So let's get to the next part. I did say that, but he also said it, so it's fine. Michael Jackson, dog, the king of pop. We still call him the king of pop. Pop hasn't been the same since. King of pop. I don't have nothing else to say. RPMJ. That's it. Because that's Venus and Leo. Venus and Leo, you have two of the greatest performers offer it. MJ, and we have Madonna. She's you know what I'm saying? Like that's the Madonna horror complex. Her being able to break the concept and like open the gate to so much liberation of like, hold on, let me scroll up for her. Scroll up to so much liberation for like women and how they want to express stress and etc. Yeah, it's really cool. Good for her. Okay. Ignore the ads. We don't need ads. Okay. So that was Venus and Leo. Appreciate y'all. If y'all have any other questions about Venus, feel free to drop them down in the chat. If I don't get to them, I'll circle back towards the end. And appreciate y'all for spending this live time with me as well. And for anyone who's popping up later, man, get that many reading for us going. What y'all doing? Anyway, real yearner. Facts. Facts, man. Oh, man. We done got the Venus or Virgo. I had it on screw up my face. No, I'm playing. Let me stop. So, Venus or Virgo. We have Kim Kardashian. Marshall Matters. Kylie Jenner. Oh, that's why they're both like that? Interesting. I didn't know that. Julia Roberts. John Lennon kind of weird. I ain't gonna lie. I know this music's fire, but like, okay, let's see. I mean, I'm just nosy at this point. How many Venus and Virgos do we have? Classically handsome for no reason. Mila Kunis, Bella Hadid. I'll talk about Bella Hadid. So let's like, because Bella Hadid is one of the more recent people to pop up from like the modeling space specifically, right? And so in terms, and they also did her dirty in this photo, but that's just what they do, I guess. But Venus and Virgo, she, if you even look at her from right now in this picture, she is very meticulously crafted on all of the things that she's doing. You think that she doesn't know what part of her face is being expressed right here? A lot of people think modeling is some BS, right? You know, now granted, we can catch some great candid photos. I strive off the portrait candid photo type deal, but she knows exactly where she's placing wherever she's placing because of that Venus and Virgo portion, right? When it comes to Venus and Virgo, all about the details, right? A Venus and Virgo, you can love somebody, they come to you, their armpit smell like a little bit more than it should, and you be like, and you might be mad rude, like, get out of my face. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm just wanting to get a hug. And they're like, leave me alone. You're like, what's going on? Meanwhile, old boy go, he take a shower, take care of his business, handle all that, and pops back up. He's like, oh my God, baby, it's you. I made you all your favorite food. I'm going to make you work out for an extra hour. And I also bought my favorite DVDs on VHS for us to watch. I found a blockbuster. And that's what we're going to do. That's Venus and Virgo. I ain't going to lie. I'm not going to overlook Robert Williams. We're going to go back up on the process. So I appreciate you for bringing him up too, though. So I'll make sure to definitely give him his flowers on the way up. But in terms of that, right, when it gets to like Bella Hadid in that process, she knows how to do that. She has different like lines of clothing, and I'm sure that they're all handled very meticulously in terms of that and on like what they choose, etc. Because of that Virgo aspect to that as well. So although she's going to be leaning into the modeling portion of things, that doesn't mean that she doesn't know all those little in-betweens of that, because Venus and Virgo loves those in-betweens, right? So leaving Bella Hadid aside, let's talk about Robin Williams. R.I.P. Legend. Homie played Genie. What? You know how deeply embedded this man is within our psyches? Mrs. Doubtfire, more wild. So here's the thing. And I want to point this out on both ends of things because I'm just being transparent. Venus and Virgo is what made him beloved by everybody. And I also think part of the Venus and Virgo was part of why it was so difficult for him to look outside of his own flaws. So on one end of Venus and Virgo is like this capacity to make great change out of pointing out details. And in some cases that can start to implode on itself, which is why I always recommend for Venus and Virgo people, like, you need to follow every routine, advice, health thing that you find that you think everyone else should do. If you're doing that for yourself, everyone will listen to you. The minute that you don't do that or follow your own advice, nobody listens to you. Y'all get upset because you're like, I know all the information. I spent years learning this science, but everyone's like, you know what I'm saying? And then you get more frustrated in that process. Venus and Virgo is really one of those things where it's like, you know how to fix everything and everyone, but you have to always remember where you are for yourself. So although, you know, we can see this legend as a legend, because that's what he is, even in his time, he wasn't able to see that as much. I hope that he does now. But this is one of those concepts to where it's like, you have to keep that nervous part of things in check and make sure that you're still pouring love back into yourself, despite how much you might be willing to serve other people, how much you will be willing to put a laugh on everyone else's face. You still have to reserve time to make sure that you have a laugh on your face too. That's just as important in this process as well. So not to get a little dark there, but I do want to point that out because both sides of that are completely true. Who am I? He looked crazy here. Okay. And let's talk about the elephant of Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian. This woman has been running an empire in the health and beauty industry for a long time. Not only that, when she got bored once, and this isn't to like poke at her intelligence at all. Like, Kim is way smarter than anybody in the media is gonna give her credit for. Let's put that out there first. Literally, Paris Hilton and her were homies. Paris Hilton admitted to acting stupid to getting paid. Why? Because while she's acting stupid and being dramatic and letting her Libra stuff take over while she's on camera in front of everybody, as soon as those cameras go off, that Venus and Virgo is like, and here's the next merger, and here's the next $1 billion things, and this person get out my face, and I need my other stuff. Now, this isn't to say that every Venus and Virgo is pushy, but if y'all had a chance, y'all would. So, I'm gonna keep it honest. But the reason why is because Venus and Virgo is like, I've always been bringing help out for so long that when I ask for help, I need the help. You know what I'm saying? Like Venus Virgo is like, oh, but I've been helping everyone. Where's my help? And as soon as they start getting help, they're like, grapes, mouth, thank you. Remember that time that I cleaned your shoe and you didn't even ask me, but you would be walking around with that gum on your shoe and that girl would have never dated you if you had that on your shoe. So you're going to sit here and feed me grapes. And I'm sorry for every Venus and Virgo I low-key just snitched on with that. But y'all praise kink is real. Don't y'all play about it. But as soon as y'all get people to kind of like fall in line to what it is that you think, as well as like are willing to just work on themselves in general, you can really find like a brand new relationship to not just people, but to like how you view getting certain things done. So yeah, I know I'm right. I wasn't trying to like drag y'all, but like that was one of those things where I'm like most people be letting y'all get away with that all the time. But I will not. Anyway, so right now we have reached the mid part of this journey. We are halfway through the Venus signs. I'm about to go take a walk break because I care about myself. And then we're going to circle back around and finish out the rest of the zodiac. For any of y'all who have been enjoying so far, make sure you like this. Send this over to your homie. Send this over to the crush that you have. Send this over to your ex. Don't do that. But send this over to whoever you think would be interested in learning deeper about their Venus. And whoever stays to the end, there's going to be somebody who wins a something. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll figure that out in a second. Okay, I will be back briefly. Enjoy the music. Anyway, now we are back better than ever. Did y'all buy the clips? I'm not the clips. That's later. Y'all buy the mini readings while I was gone? I don't know. I don't know if y'all did. Rather suspicious. You ask me. No one did. Okay, next stuff. All right. So we've explained the first half of the Venus signs. I thought this was going to be an hour-long class. Boy, was I wrong. Let's get into it, though. We're going to talk about Venus and Libra. Okay, this is Venus and Libra right here. And when it comes to Venus and Libra, this is Libra's, I'm sorry, this is Venus's other favorite sign to be in. So Venus and Taurus, Venus and Libra. Well, Venus loves being here. How do we know? How do we know? You want an example? Because no matter what this woman I'm about to show you does, the people still love her. They regard her as queen. You cannot say anything bad about this person, even if they are at one of those parties. This is Beyonce, aka Beyonce on his mouth like liquor, aka Queen Bee. Now, Beyonce has a Venus in Libra. And if you look at the full parts of all of her parts, even with her being in the girl group that she then was so strong of that Venus and Libra on, that they made her her own headliner, that they put her as a star, that she has made her way through the industry the way she has, to flex the way that she does. The fact that this Venus and Libra can put out any opinion today and have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of foot soldiers for more social medias come in and tell you exactly how wrong you are for denying anything about her. Now listen, I love the Beyonce album and Destiny's Child. Anyway, so we also have Freddie Mercury, right? And Freddie Mercury broke through and all the stuff that he did too. In terms of this, even with his Venus and Libra, it's a heightened part of art, right? Freddie Mercury was known for his voice in a way that he was able to really bridge in, the strength of his voice, his own identity, right? Because he was coming through at a time frame where that wasn't necessarily as widely accepted for him to be. I believe he was queer. I don't want to point out an incorrect portion of this, but yes. So that was a portion of that. Let's talk about Ken. Now, this man is a Venus and Libra. Why? Why do you ask? Because this genius, Venus and Libra man, this genius man, you want to know what he did? He's used to being the action hero. He's usually the action hero. He's usually like in something that's a little bit more cold hearted and cool or whatever the case is. This man decided to be Ken and Barbie. Be as dressed up and I'm just Ken as it is. And he has become a heartthrob for so many across the nation for his acceptance of his femininity. Now, this is why it's interesting because, like, despite all of his action hero stuff, I ain't never heard nobody be like, oh, him. Once he did Ken, you would have thought this man was the biggest man in the world. I never heard of him prior. Not like that. That's not true. Ryan Gosling has done cool stuff. But like that's just one of those things where it's like through that ability to be able to like tap into that more feminine, to tap into that different rendition of like how masculinity even looks, and even the way that he went about all the press conferences and stuff like that while still remaining and talking about Ken. Very Venus and Libra, as he was still keeping to himself, still honoring himself, but also highlighting the other parts of things that like people enjoyed in that process as well. So his charm is really what I'm trying to say, is what led him through in terms of that with the Venus and Libra. And Will Smith. I don't like Will Smith. Look at his face. Anyway, but he was once the Fresh Prince. So even in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air portion of things, right? You watch a show of him navigating a lot of the relationships, right? Are we going through all the signs in order? Yes, I am. For once, I am actually going through the signs in order. We're doing Venus signs. We're at Libra right now. We still have a ways to go. But when it gets to specifically, right, this Libra rendition of, again, that Venus and Libra, you know, it is about like showing the relationships to relationships. And if you watch Will Smith throughout his career, he always talks about his relationships. One of the biggest parts to his relationship is that his relationship is down bad, and we all have watched it unfold over the years, right? But Venus and Libra is like, that's how important relationship is to them in general. And so Venus and Libra, they're like the charmers. They always get by. People always like them. People always want them type deal. But it's really up to them and how they want to present that allows other people to really come in or not, depending on what they're aiming. So that's a little bit of the Venus and Libra vibration. Breakdown of that, the home sign type deal. So yeah, look at this man's face. Get out of my face, Willard, or whatever your name is. Okay, so now we're getting down to the Venus and Scorpio. So the real ones, no. The real ones, no. All right. So this is Venus and Scorpio. Leave me alone. Stop it. No, I'm clicking the wrong thing. It's all bad. Stop. Leave me alone. I just want to talk about astrology with my friends. Okay, so I'm going to pop in one more time. Here we go. And so when we get to Venus and Scorpio, we're not going to talk about him because he was a very prime person at some parties. We're not going to talk about him because I don't feel like dealing with politicians. We're not going to talk about him because that's just Bill Gates. We're not going to talk about her because she's a politician too. Oh my God. So here's the main part to Venus and Scorpio. All the people that I just went by and why I like kind of dismissed them in my head. These are all Scorpio Venuses that missed out on the plot of like true deep-seated love. And motherfucker, you know, shut your fuck ass motherfuckers. Let me stop. Anyway, so when it gets to the rest of this, when you get to like everybody that does pop up though, everybody here has this weird relationship to like power. Where so you see how like the power dynamics in which they play in are so powerful that even in their actual relationships it's lacking, right? Like you just pointed out that Clinton, right? One of her biggest things and situations that popped up was a scandal between her and her husband, right? So when Scorpio Venus, there's a deep-seated side of it. And sometimes people never get to the more lighthearted side of Scorpio Venus, so to speak, right? Because at the end of the day, Scorpio Venus is about digging deeper than what's normally like brought about. And how do you keep the truth in that process? Now, this right here is a star Scorpio Venus. We have Bruce Lee. And so Bruce Lee, although every astrologer tries to take him into Scorpio territory, that's because of his Scorpio Venus, he's a Sag. When it comes to Bruce Lee, though, his philosophy on even the concept of being like water is the Scorpio Venus tenacity of like you have to fill in whatever container. Now, mind you, he was a master at Wing Chun, which is a very special form of kung fu. Not a lot of people even know, right? But his dedication to that craft has everything to do with the Scorpio Venus portion of like really building in, digging in, becoming stronger, finding more power within. Jim Morrison, he's another Scorpio Venus. He was a little bit more on the occult side of things, right? When Jim Morrison came into more of his prowess in terms of his music and what he puts out into the world, he started even calling himself the Lizard King. He got really involved with like a lot of like the esoteric, and he put it all into his music, his songs. He crazy. Leave him alone. Zac Efron, right? Let's talk about Zac Efron. That's how we'll just circle out the Venus and Scorpio part, right? Was Zac Efron not the heartthrob of everybody in like my age bracket? Because when Zac Efron was out, Vanessa Hudgens was out. I know that for a fact because I loved Vanessa Hudgens and I wanted to fight Zac Efron just cause. You know what I'm saying? I was also like 12, but still, the concept here is that it's like even with Zac Efron, he's gone through many transformations. Post that, he had to deal with some deep-seated stuff between his own appearance, how people always saw him, and how he seen himself. So there's even a power dynamic in like that process. Now, mind you, Scorpio Venus is one of those like placements in general to where there is a lot that goes on. There's a lot of karma that's also intact with Scorpio Venuses. Y'all can go from having people who are soulmates to twin flames to just things that end in disaster, but it's always to like bridge you into something greater. It's always to get you to come up from the rebel. And those that do come up from the rebel have the opportunity to love stronger and love greater. Now, we don't always have the best of celebrity things with that, especially because when we're looking at Venus or Scorpio from a celebrity standpoint, now we're looking at some people who are like, I have to crush everybody by any means to get there, which isn't the best way to go about Venus. But remember when I started this off and I was like, Venus isn't always on her good side? This can also come about when it comes to Scorpio Venus. What Scorpio Venus means more so for the spiritualists or people who are working to improve themselves. That means you taking all the bad in the world and you're figuring out a way to make it right or to make it good or to transmute from it. Excuse me. Like there's a lot of change when it comes to like the premise of how that operates based off of your intentionality too. So, like I said, some of the people that I show was all like, I want the power, right? Meanwhile, there's a bunch of Scorpio Venuses that I know who even do spiritual work, and they're some of the most like serene people when it comes to this. Some of them are also on that power wave, but it really does depend because there's always a struggle between is it all the power or you have the power to let power go? And that's a real theme when it comes to Venus and Scorpio. And typically, when you choose to let power go as a Scorpio Venus, that's when you really start to get into the secrets of passion and everything else like that. Also, if you do get to doing your thing, bet you they won't forget. Not saying from personal preference or personal experience, but I'm gonna just keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Don't call me. Okay, cool. Next one. Huzzah, 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 huzzah. Venus and Sagittarius. We out here. Okay. So now we're getting into Venus and Sag. If you are a Venus and Sagittarius, we have Katy Perry. You're so hypnotizing. Also, I kissed a girl before everybody was, before it was okay, right? As a matter of fact, let's talk about her Venus and Sag right there. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Taste of her cherry chapstick. I kissed a girl just to try it. I hope my boyfriend don't mind it. Felt so wrong. Felt so right. Don't mean I'm in love. Like Venus and Sag. We've had a theme song forever. Why is that? Venus and Sag came to the party for the photos. Venus and Sag enjoys camaraderie. They enjoy bits of debauchery. Venus and Sag loves a good time, but they're also people that like intend well. There are people that intend well onto others, Those are the people who are like having a toast for somebody because it's their birthday, and they're like, "Why are you giving a toast for me?" But you said no one ever gave you a toast before, so now I have to. Like, we're gonna do this. They want to bring blessings. They want to bring camaraderie. They want to bring fun into your life, right? Sometimes fun comes with a little bit of chaos, and that's what Venus and Sag know how to do, right? So as much as like it's like, oh, Katy Perry, I don't know her life, but I know that she be messy sometimes, just based off of like stuff that I like randomly peep in the news, and I'm like, oh, she's doing something. Billie Eilish, shout out Billie Eilish, shout out Billie Eilish. Real talk, she's been doing her thing. She's my zodiac twin, low key. So I gotta make sure that she right. Because shout out to her. I love how she's been doing her thing this summer. But Billie Eilish, Venus and Sag, came out on the scene for just being like, she came out stupidly young too, low key. You know what I'm saying? In the last few years, I started like listening to things more heavier because like they grown, it makes more sense for me. But like when it gets to the aspect of like, and now on some Drake-ness, we'll just leave him alone too. But when it gets to Billie Eilish, she's always pushing the envelope. I just saw today she posted something on Twitter. I would show you all these videos, but I don't want to get copyright or nothing. But basically, it was a video of her, and she was doing something stupidly simple. Like everyone who was waiting for the music video thought it was going to be her like frolicking through a field, like birds of a feather stick together. Like they thought that she was just going to be skipping. Meanwhile, it's her in like a half forward thing, just spinning in an office chair, just singing her song, enjoying herself. And everyone's like, what's up with this video, man? It's like she is pushing away your expectation on purpose. Venus and Sag love to subvert your expectation. Oh, you thought that there was a bunny under this? Just kidding. This is your checkbook. Yep. And I already signed this off. Thank you. Like there's a whimsical, a challenge, a like push of that ends up coming through with the Venus and Sagittarius energy, right? The other thing with Venus and Sagittarius is that they often can like, I don't want to say they can be preachy, but they definitely have a tendency to sometimes be a little preachy. Amongst that, we have people that are like Nicki Minaj. Now granted, I'm a big fan of the Nicki Minaj upcoming in the rap game, but as a person, that Venus and Sag be doing a little bit too much. She be trying to shoot too many shots. You know, Venus and Sag is also a warrior spirit, right? So when she's feeling like she was being pushed in the corner, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, other artists that were coming up female predominantly and did a similar vibe to her, she was like, I need to strike them all down. No, they got it unless they see me as queen. That could be the other side sometimes of Venus and Sag. Like there is this need for like competition. There is this need for like a little bit of drama, a little bit of chaos that ends up popping up. But it doesn't mean that like that has to rule your time frame. Because when the Venus and Sag is done right, you could do something like this fool. This is Ryan Reynolds. This man got to be Deadpool. He got to just play his Venus and Sag self unfiltered, and we all just watched him do it. But when Venus doesn't get in Sag, there is this goofiness to it. There is this like they want to make you laugh. They want to make sure that you have a good time. They want to bring out these other parts of you in this process as well. That allows you to seek out more. That gets out of your own bubble. That gets out of your own comfort zone even. So that's something that I really am seeing in terms of that as well. So appreciate y'all for rocking through with me. And please let me know if y'all still have any questions. I know that we've been going on for like an hour or some change. I know some of y'all just popped in. What's up? I'm having the Venus mini readings that I'm going to be doing directly for y'all over the course of this solar eclipse in Libra week. I'll also be doing other mini readings for Libra. I'm excited for this though. I changed the mini readings so that I think it fits perfectly to what I like to do and how I yap. So it's going to be even more better and specific insight for y'all too, because moving forward with most of my mini readings, I'm going to be leaving the cards a bit more, and we're going to actually be going into breaking down like literally like what your Venus doing. So if you see me and you're like, oh, I want to do a Venus reading, I'm clicking on your Venus. We're talking about how all of this relates to things, and then we're getting into how it relates to the whole part to your chart, just to give you some context. So I'm gonna be doing that a lot more for people's specific charts when they send them over to me. Then I can get them the mini readings geared to you. Something for me to do on my weekends and something for y'all to get once a week. So back to the topic. We're getting into the last part of these Venus signs. These are the last 3 Venus signs that are popping up, right? So, not him. Yeah, it's still Venus and Sag. But to move forward, no, I don't. It was weird that they talk about lawyers and then Venus and Capricorn pops up. And you might need one, son, considering your circumstances. Anyway, Venus in Capricorn, right? Venus in Capricorn is the one sign that I feel like it's the bad side to Venus in Capricorn is that they could be a gold digger. The good side of Venus in Capricorn is that they could be a gold digger. Let me explain. Venus in Capricorn is so good at like finding money or just finding people who are wealthy. Like Venus in Capricorn woman can go into I live in LA too. I'll be seeing, screw it. We're going to go all the way into it. I'll be in LA. When you find different parts of LA, cultures change. I decided to take my black self to Beverly Hills because I never been there. I thought it'd be interesting. And I remember walking around and I was chilling. I'm like, look at all the stuff I'm not able to afford yet. That's cool. Is that a Rolls Royce? Nice. What is that over there? Crazy. Then I remember walking past this like plaza area. Things opened up. There were like water fountains. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Wish I brought my camera. Take some photos, some mementos. You know, so just show the folks back home, you know, your boy went past this point, you know. I remember seeing these glorious, gorgeous women sitting down. And I'm like, wow, look at these women sitting down. They look great. Then I would see the oldest man known to man pop up and hold their hand and be like, yeah, aren't you so glad I brought you here? And I was like, what's happening? That's Venus in Capricorn. I'm now not saying that if you have a Venus in Capricorn, that's what you're going to do. But this energetic of like, oh, shoot, this person is established, a little old, might not, whatever. They might pass me off a little money. Let's see the deal. And I saw people really go through with it. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. And they was like my age, they're younger than me, to like a little older than me. I was like, oh boy. But at the same time, they got their bag. Now that I got that part out the way, the other side to Venus and Cap is like, no. I want to be the sugar daddy to So it's like two sides almost. Oh, now it doesn't always have to be like this, but like the other side of it is like, oh, I want to be the person making sure that like I'm good and like, oh yeah, buy whatever you want. Oh, you're my person. Here, get yourself whatever you need. There's like a very like power to play to money and resource type of thing that ends up going with that. But that turns us Capricorn Venus on in general. They're like, ooh, what's all this? It's just a thing for y'all. So with that being said, Venus and Capricorn also just like people who are about what they say that they're about, right? So if you're not a megalomaniac person trying to steal money from every person that exists, and you're just like, I like people, I'm a human, and I live my life. Good, you're halfway there. But genuinely, all side of this, all jokes aside, when the Venus and Capricorn also comes through with like, they just see someone who's genuine, right? This might be that one lady that you know that was like, I fell in love with him. He was a mechanic. He gave me 5 kids and he always take care of the kids. And then he go out to Vegas. That's the one thing he do every year. But then he come back and he make sure that everything is done. And we always eat and everything is good. And I don't got to worry about nothing. It's just like people that have that type of like oomph within them. Venus and Capricorn appreciate no matter what you're attracted to, who you're attracted to. It's just when people have that amount of ability to either gain status or to just be about the way that they say that they're about in a strong way, right? Sound like someone that owns a skyscraper or something. Might be. I don't know. If so, hit me up with the room. You know what I'm saying? I'll serve some astrology readings out there. It'll be a good fun time. So if you have a skyscraper and you want to put me on the second to bottom floor, got you. Say less. Now you want to know if Anna Delvey has Venus in Capricorn? That's a great question. Let's find out. I don't even know who that is. Like I should know who that is, but huh? Yam? What? Okay, one second. And what did she do? Oh, scam. On. Bad lady. Shame for you. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Oh wait, does it have her thing? I'm trying to look it up right now. If it has it on Astro theme, I got y'all because now I'm curious. I never heard of this person. Is that her? I don't. That might be her. One second. Sorry. She has a Venus in Aquarius. If that is her. Anyway, back to the thing. I'm gonna get distracted. Appreciate y'all though. Back in. Okay, so the girl that scammed off all the rich people just got kicked off Dancing with the Stars. Oh, okay, got you. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I'll be as versed into this celebrity stuff as I can without losing my brain, which is why I'm about to leave social media soon, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus. I like Miley Cyrus. Anyway, so when it comes to Miley Cyrus, let's put her in perspective to Venus and Capricorn. So we have Miley Cyrus, but we also had Hannah Montana. Now, why am I bringing this up? Best of both worlds. Switch it up, all the other stuff, right? One end, Miley in the show was living her Venus and Capricorn life with her tight-knit, group of friends who she was the queen of, right? She was like, yeah, I run this and this is just my life. And in the other life, she was the lady getting the money. So on one end and another end, Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana was both the gold digger and the gold digged. So the reason why it's funny, even in that capacity, and of course, people are calling me as I start to break stuff down, but like the Venus and Capricorn part to her is like why she went to even get married with that one doofus looking dude. Liam something, not Nelson, but whatever. But that one dude that was weird looking and bad and terrible. And then she said, screw you. I try to do everything traditionally. I hate you. I'm doing my own thing. And then she did do her own thing. And then she did Wrecking Ball. And then she made twerking okay for all of America briefly. And that is Venus and Capricorn at work. She said, I'm going to change the script of how you view something on a grand scale. Love to see it. Brad Pitt, questionable man, but look at how Venus and Capricorn pretty he is. If you didn't know who this man was, and he came up to you and was like, hey, party on my yacht, be there at 7:30. I'm going to pick you up in my Hellcat. You would be like, what color is the car? Respectfully so. The Venus and Capricorn part, he's like, yeah, I'm the big boss here. You know, he's about to order a whiskey sour and tell you about his 30 years of doing the same thing. Whatever. That's Venus and Capricorn too. Now, unfortunately, Britney Spears got a very bad side of the Venus and Capricorn part, right? To where it was like, and this is one thing I had to point out to Venus and Capricorn. Let your transformation take time. Britney Spears is a great example of the unfortunate other side of Venus and Capricorn, where you get rushed into everything too quick. When you get rushed into everything too fast, when you need to be a superstar before you know how to wipe your own butt. Like, this is where the other side of that like becomes an issue, right? Because when you're expected to be at a certain amount of greatness, and especially a consistent amount of greatness by yourself, isolated, that's going to create too much pressure, so to speak, right? And that's where you get into the other side of how that's gone, right? Is that because of the aspect to her Venus? Let me actually look at her chart specifically, because she does have a very interesting background. So let me click this. Boom. Yes, actually, yes. So part of the issue that pops up from what I see is the Venus square to Pluto. Now, granted, if you see this in your chart and you don't have me looking at it, don't just take this as one thing. I'm being very specific to her chart as I explain this. But this is what the mini reading is about. So with the Venus square to Pluto, and her Pluto is over Scorpio. Yeah, so her Pluto's in Scorpio with the Venus. That Venus square, that's what's kind of creates the tension between the icon that she is. Like she is a home known icon. Pluto Libra in the first house. She was the known beautiful artistic it girl of the time in its entirety. And all of that got toppled over by what? Some BS that happened in her family who was using her for all of her gain. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and it gets deeper depending on what's going on. But for those of y'all who do know a little astrology, this is in the fourth house, Venus in Capricorn. She's working to have to then just provide for her family. But what? Her family was screwing her over, was screwed up her image. And that's the vice versa. That's the square back and forth battle that she's had to deal with a lot of the time. So when you do ask, like, was part of that fall from grace, so to speak, due to her Venus? Yes. Yes, it was. But it was also why she was also as popular as she was. You know what I'm saying? She also got Saturn in the first and her story's messed up. Yes. So like all of these different aspects gaining onto each other, you can see how much potentiality that she has throughout her whole chart. But you could also see like that's why knowing your astrology, knowing your chart, and even if you have those same placements, knowing your energy is how you can mitigate the BS. Knowing where you're at is how you can learn everything else. That's why I'm always so passionate about making sure that y'all know your astrology, or y'all know your big three at least, or y'all can at least like learn the parts that you're called to without any BS in between. Because I have opinions. But the idea with this, right, to get a little bit further into the actual astrology, because I do have two more to do and I have been sweating. So I'm gonna hear it all that. I'm gonna start off with the weekend actually for Venus and Capricorn, right? Because now, granted, I listened to many of this man's lyrics. I wouldn't say he's a hero, but that picture is very Venus and Capricorn as well. They sure didn't do him dirty in his photo, but with the weekend is like even in this portion, right? I was listening to the weekend, or he had a face. Why? Why did he not have a face? He was one, nervous about it. Two, wanted to keep his anonymity. Three, wanted to make sure he was good enough before he started putting his self out there. And then since that time, where he started putting his face out there, people started to notice who he was. He started actually singing on stage for the first time. Between him singing on stage for the first time, maybe like I'm gonna say 10 years back, just to make it easy. Like 10 years back to now, he's the only pop star underneath Michael Jackson, right? And why? He stayed consistent. He stayed consistent. He showed up. He popped up. When he had other opportunities to branch out, he branched out and still kept his sound. Even I don't like all of his newer stuff, but he still kept a core part of his sound, kept the core part of his audience, kept the core part of his story. And that's like an example of, because when I first heard about the weekend, he was on the streets, homeless, dealing stuff to get by, and literally just singing to maybe get away from it. So to see that story to where he's at now, it's a very Venus and Capricorn rags to riches story, but that means he also has to watch out for some gold digging people. See what I'm saying? That's kind of the Venus and Capricorn back and forth that kind of happens with that. I hope this makes sense. I know I've been talking for a hot minute. Some of y'all have left the chat. Y'all be my litmus to be like, is everyone here? Is it still going? But you know, all jokes aside, I appreciate the love, appreciate y'all being here. Okay. Now we're getting to the second to last one. Now with Venus and Aquarius, I'm gonna be real with y'all, Venus and Aquarius. Why y'all got a crush on all y'all friends? Venus and Aquarius is like poly was invented by a Venus and Aquarius. Like the concept of like everybody grouping together in their own little whatever that's at, you know, just hey, here we are all in this. I think it's called a polyculus, actually. That's not to take away from none of it. I'm not fully aware. I just want to make sure that like I'm saying it correctly if that's the case. But like Venus and Aquarius is like why they're loving the crew. Oh, they're loving the crew. But it's okay. There's like a social element to that. Like a Venus and Aquarius is The type of lady who's like, I love hockey. I'm just gonna use this because for people who know, they know. So I'm just gonna explain it like this. That's a little girl that's like, I love hockey and I want to know every star player personally. Venus and Aquarius. And then they'll be like, oh, it's fine. Like there's no whatever. I don't know how to explain it. There's just a certain level of detachment that a Venus and Aquarius, specifically woman, knows how to tap into. That's like, oh, you really just be like out here inventing and learning new stuff just to learn new stuff. Like you're just doing this for the love of the game. They're like, yes. So it's like, oh, very different. So they're not going to be on the traditional trajectory for most women, most people, most dating scenarios. You get what I'm saying? These are the people that date their friends. These are the people who dated friends of their friends. These are the people who like have just done something strange for a piece of change is the incorrect word. But I'm gonna just keep it rolling because that's what popped through. I hope that y'all understand what I'm trying to say when I say this. That could also mean a date for those who are like, oh, whatever, you know. Anyway, so let's talk about the first Venus in Aquarius, who also has a die-hard community ready to clip the universe itself if possible, just have it not be discussed. T-Swizzle. So as we look at T-Swizzle, we have to point out the concept that her fan base is crazy. Now, why is her fan base crazy? Because if most people don't know this, right? But haha, I'm a marketing guy, so let me explain to you all this stuff. When T Swift first came onto the scene, she literally interacted with all of her fans directly herself. So the same way that I say what's up to y'all, the same way that y'all sometimes text me, and if I have the time, I'll like hit y'all back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the same way that I will interact directly with you is the way that she was directing with thousands of people. She was going to people's birthday parties. She was going to people's weddings and singing. She would just go to literally the ice cream shop and hang out with some of her fans every once in a while. But because of that, Taylor Swift has grown such a huge networking community of Swifties all around, and it never even like got to know her, but they know somebody that did know her. They know someone that was Sweet 16 they popped up to. Like that's the kind of vibe and energy that Taylor Swift has, and she has this like ability to like impact so many people because of her quirky stories, right? Or her rendition of her stories, which sound quirky. You know, she always has a take on it. That's a little bit different, a little bit off the regular, you know what I'm saying? But T Swizzle always doing something else. Even if you look at her dating history, I ain't gonna lie, got a long list of ex-lovers, still tell you. Cause you can hate the player and you hate the game. That is the most Venus and Aquarius playeristic stuff I ever heard in my entire life. And I gotta respect it because it was in a pop thing. If that was a rap song, people would be like, you gotta take that off. They're crazy. They're saying too much stuff. Anyway, all jokes aside, to get back into this, right? Who else? Harry Styles. Now, Harry Styles is a man who is straight, who had been pointed out for like dressing the way he does just to get the attention of people who happen to be queer and find him attractive. Now, he's part of this group, a boy band. Like he knows he knows where his One Direction is coming from. All right. Anyway, but the whole point behind Harry Styles is that it's like, I genuinely think he just likes the weird stuff that he wears. You get what I'm saying? Because Venus and Aquarius is like, yeah, I'll just wear that. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I'll just do this, right? And so some of the backlash that he was getting didn't end up working. Why? Because it was authentic to who he was. It was authentic to his Venus and Aquarius. So you ever notice, there's one thing I have to point out to y'all. When people are following their Venus and they're honest about their Venus, people can't poke at you weird. You get what I'm saying? It's the worst thing someone's gonna look at it and be like, man, he's weird for dressing like that. It's like he likes dressing like that. How is that weird to him? You get what I'm saying? These are the type of things. Like once you really own your Venus, things don't impact you as much. I don't know V very much, but I do know that he's a part of BTS. I can't point him out. Timothy Chalamet. This is a weird looking kid, but he gets play. This is a weird looking dude, but he gets play. Ladies love this man. Why, we don't know, but it's okay. They love him. And with that being said, he seemed like a decent guy. I don't got no issue with him for real. But it's just like his weird look, even like his weird, like unconventional thing has made him a heartthrob for a lot of ladies or a lot of people in general. You get what I'm saying? With that being said, this like, who else am I thinking? There has to be like one other person that's gonna pop out. Paris Hilton. Another person. Remember how I mentioned Kim Kardashian? Now these are both Venus and Air. So let's point that out. Venus and Air, y'all got some people doing some stuff. Paris Hilton had the entire world think she was stupid and running off with the bag every single time. She was like, oh, I'm a blonde. People are gonna think I'm dumb. They don't listen to me when I'm start. Screw it. So that's part of the finesse when it comes to that. Timothy Chalamet doesn't date Zendaya. He dates Kylie Jenner. He pulled Kylie Jenner. That's what it is. But still, yeah, like a crazy thing. Tom Holland is who's with Zendaya. Yes. I shouldn't know this stuff, but I have to for my job. Anyway, but but the idea of this, again, getting back to that Venus and Aquarius, they have like a big following, all built on friendships, etc. Now I'm about to go dip out one more time, and then I'm gonna hit this Venus and Pisces wave. But I do got to get that one last stretch and hop in. So one sec, y'all. Oh, I clicked the wrong. Returned for the final sign of the zodiac. I've been on live for 2 years, 3 years, 4. It is time for us to talk about the true yearners of the Venus zodiac, Venus and Pisces. Let's break it down as we open this up. Okay, let me stop. All right, so Venus and Pisces, right? Finally, Pisces, I'm proud to be awake. Thank you for staying up. And literally, you can watch this anytime, but it's extremely endearing to me that you always make sure that you try to show up here. So shout out to Ann. Make sure you show Ann some love, 100%. So it's time. All right, so let's get to Venus and Pisces. The yearners. So Venus and Pisces is like, I've never met somebody who can tap into delusion and actually find love in the way that Venus and Pisces can. I don't know how to explain it, but like Venus and Pisces will be like, this is my made up pretend boyfriend. And then 3 days later, they'll find that real person in real life and then date them. It's a wild situation. I've seen it happen a few times. Venus and Pisces are like, well, what if I just got swept off of my feet in the line of Starbucks? And then they're like, go to Starbucks and be like, I don't want to be here. And then someone else walks out with them at the same time. They're like, I don't want to be here either. They lock eyes with them and they're like, do you want to go to a better coffee shop together? And then they'll just go to the coffee shop and they'll be like, I was going to get my French vanilla macchiato with almond milk, stirred twice with 1 sugar cube. And they're like, oh my God, that's the same one I have, right? But like it's a weird way that they have like a interesting manifestation ability when it comes to their heart. Like they just like kind of put themselves into interesting situations. Even Ann said, not really recently, not lately, but when you were doing your thing in the heyday, when you were really out, that's what was happening, right? So this is just like one of those good examples, at least, as far as like how that energy was like pulling through. Now, Jeebus, let me stop. So literally, this is I will talk about my opinions on this chart some other time. But if we're just being like astrologically sound, if homeboy had a Venus in Pisces, what was his message? Unconditional love. Was his message not unconditional love? I think that was his message. I'm pretty sure that's what he was here to do. All right, so we also have Michelle Obama. We ain't talking about you today. Martin Luther the King. Let's talk about Martin Luther the King. We talk about Martin Luther the King. Biebs. Feel so bad for Biebs. Talk about Kurt Cobain, and let's talk about Emma Watson. I want to talk about Emma Watson. This is personal. I'm gonna talk about Emma Watson. Oh, let's talk about Hermione. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about Hermione. All right, so this is Hermione. You know what I'm saying? No, but all jokes aside, the Venus and Pisces portion when it comes to like her chart, right, is that she's able to. As a matter of fact, let's talk about real life. Emma Watson is literally a witch, dog. Like she's part of a cool coven, from what I heard. Like she's literally like she's not just Hermione. Emma Watson, Evan, Saturn return. She talked about her Saturn return. She talked about, yep. Let's see. Screw all these terrible news stuff. Why are you like this? Leave me alone. Okay, so the next part, right? What planet is she on? They asked to every Venus and Pisces ever. What are with these pop-ups, dog? This is just not right. Leave me alone. Stop it. I don't want to see you anymore. I'm tired of this. Stop. Okay, cool. So what planet is she on? Emma Watson's post-crediting Saturn for changing her life and actress's latest bizarre outburst. Actress's latest bizarre outburst needs to be the tagline for Venus and Pisces. Only reason why I'm saying it this way is because Venus and Pisces always find like some new part to life, some new part to like bringing in that live like this. The main portion of what I'm trying to like break down is with Venus and Pisces that like you love on a level that's a little different than everybody else. That's why I wanted to point out literally Jesus in the first part, because I'm like, that was unconditional love. That was the whole talk. Emma Watson, she was like, I dealt with so much till my Saturn return. Then what did I accept? Unconditional love. Now I run through with a bunch of like lovely magical ladies and we just have a good time. That's what she wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? They're like bizarre outbursts. It's like everything's a bizarre outburst for Venus and Pisces. They're just falling in love with life every day. Now, who else is a Venus and Pisces? Kurt Cobain. So when we listen to Nirvana, it smells like Teen Spirit, all those like old grunge, emo-y rock band type things. Very Venus and Pisces. Like he was always like looking for a reason. He was trying to find that feeling of unconditional love in his music. Do y'all see the pattern here? Do y'all see like the vibe that's coming through? You know what I'm saying? I don't know all their like relationship lives or nothing. Even Heath Ledger, similar type of deal. Let's talk about Kristen Stewart. I'm gonna end this off with Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart played Bella. Kristen Stewart played Bella. Bella fell in love with a vampire and was so hard pressed on this man that she said, if it means to be with you, I want to be what you are. Venus and Pisces, like she literally sacrificed her whole knowing of how life was gonna go for some man that just couldn't read her mind. She was like, this is it. This is what I want. Venus and Pisces, y'all are able to find weird situations like that. And I respect the game because y'all are at such a different octave of like the emotional world that to be able to tap in and like pop up with all that really creates like a true and genuine difference. But yeah, so this has been my Venus in astrology. She wasn't printed, facts. But this has been my Venus in astrology masterclass. I hope that y'all enjoyed. Um, This has been fun. I've been yapping. We had some laughs. We had some oh boys. We had some I refuse to talk about them. You know what I'm saying? Um, but all in all, I had a really good time just kind of explaining this. Like again, we're in Libra season, so Venus is really taking the forefront. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand why they don't get the things that they like, or they don't understand like where they're coming from, or how their desire works, or how their energetic works at all. So then they get super lost within it. That's part of why I'm keeping that Venus masterclass part open. It's probably going to be open for the next week. Then I'm gonna close it after that. But like honestly, the sooner you get it, the better. Because the more I have in queue, the more that I'm like, oh, people want this. Let's do more, right? Um, because yeah, there's a lot that's changing in my world right now. We're still in the middle of eclipse season. I ain't even gotten to catch up to telling all y'all about the stuff that I've been dealing with in terms of just like the background. Me not working for these places, me working for new spots, me picking up new things. But that's the conversation for later, and that's going to be changing up how I go about some of my readings, which is why I want to make sure that I get those mini readings to y'all, because I still want to work with y'all. I'm mostly changing my core readings to over the weekend. Those of y'all who have the full pass with me, that got like 3 4 of y'all who are in the larger readings that I have, y'all already know that like y'all have the time scheduled out with me and such like that. For those of y'all who are looking for more of that, just please make sure that you reach out, say a little bit more, ask about it if you want to get a little bit deeper into it, because I really have my most joy working one-on-one with people. But I do love doing this YouTube thing a lot. It's really fun. um and I think it's going to help whoever it reaches. And for those of y'all who are like, hey, where are the timestamps? As soon as I post it, I'm going to just redirect you right here. You want your timestamps? You got to wait a day. Okay, that was my only part. Just for whoever that is at that point. Outside of that, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for pulling through with me. Please stay beautiful, stay up, do all the good things that you do. And if you're not doing the good things that you do, figure out how to do better. Figure out how to do better. Let me stop. But to end this off though, for real, we're going through this one site. I am trying to work on my new website. It's taking me longer than I thought, but I also have like a day job with astrology and all this other stuff that I do. But again, we'll talk to y'all about that later. And yeah, so if y'all want to do this, also the Astrology 101 Masterclass is a good way to learn a lot of the core things. If there's anything that I said you didn't get, definitely check that out. This is only on sale until October 1st. October 1st, all these sales are gone. So like pull up for that. And this is really the kicker. If you're really in that, pull through for that. You know what I'm saying? But aside from that, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for showing up, popping up, showing love, pulling through. I love y'all so much. Okay. So aside from that, appreciate y'all for pulling through. Thank you for all that you've been doing. And until next time, have a good one. Stay beautiful. In my line.